My name's Edward Frank. My story is about Scripture Rocks and the Bible Tree here near Brookville. Scripture Rocks is a series of about 500 or more rocks that have been carved with Bible verses. They're carved by a man named Douglas Stallman in the early 1900s. Douglas Stallman was born in Kirkman in Jefferson County in 1861. Douglas Stallman had been a school teacher. At some time around 1900 or so, he got religion. He moved here to Brookville in 1907. At the time, he produced a series of leaflets and cards that he gave out free to people with religious themes. He later then started hanging out at these rocks and praying at them. By 1910 or so, he's spending almost all of his time out at the rocks. In 1911, he basically moved out there and became a hermit. He started carving Bible verses in the rocks, and each one of the rocks, he would dedicate it to a specific purpose, or at least the larger rocks he would. They have large words carved on them like veil lifting, or faith, or health. And associated with them are smaller verses from the Bible that seem to illuminate the subject of the dedication. The idea was that he would have people come out. If they had problems with health, they'd come out and pray at the health rock. If they have trouble with faith, they come out and pray at the faith rock. She cried, travailing in birth. Altogether, he carved over 500 rocks. They're arranged in a semicircle around Brookville, from North Fork, Port Barnett, and on out Mill Creek. Times of restitution. At the same time, he also carved several trees, where he carved Bible verses into the bark of trees. I don't know how many there were initially. There still are 2 left. The one tree I know of is in fairly poor shape. The bottom of it is rotting. The rot is severe enough that it's going to fall over if it gets hit with a good windstorm. Pulpit rock or altar rock doesn't have any carvings on it at all. Stallman would give sermons from atop the rock, and there was actually wooden benches surrounding it, and people come from Brookville and surrounding areas and sit in these benches while Stallman would preach to them. He was very popular initially, but after a few years, his behavior became more and more erratic, and eventually he was sent down to the insane wing of the Western Pennsylvania Hospital in Pittsburgh. He lived there from the 1920s until he died in 1942. Almost every town has some historical park that's been there for a while, but there's not very many towns that have something as unique as a series of 500 rocks carved with Bible verses, or 150-year-old trees carved with Bible verses by a hermit who lived in the woods. I've been to them where there's been literally busloads of people come from Pittsburgh to come see Scripture Rocks. And certainly that makes it a unique story, which I thought was important to bring out for our town, Brookville.